Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for being here on a Saturday evening to discuss something very interesting. So, today's topic is about over explaining. If you all have noticed, sometimes that we tend to have this tendency to over justify or over clarify. So, today in this call, we'll try to understand why do we do it? What triggers that response in us? So, just before we get deeper into the conversation, I want to clarify what today's topic is about and what it is not about. Okay. So, whenever we use the word over explaining, we should not confuse it with somebody who is talkative in nature or somebody who is, very extrovert. They get along with everybody. They can sit and talk for long hours with everybody. That is not the topic that we are discussing today. So, over explaining, what happens is a person feels immense pressure. They end up doing it. It's not something which they enjoy doing. It's not something which they like doing. They don't want to do it, they don't like to do it, but then based on their experience, it's almost like this is the only way to deal with this situation or this person. So when a person gets into this, when this response kicks off in them, that they go on over explaining something, they go on clarifying, it's more of a defensive strategy. So there is some amount of helplessness that they feel and some amount of restlessness that they feel while they are doing it. So it's not a nice feeling when they are doing it. They don't enjoy it. They are not extroverts. It's just a response that just gets triggered in them and then they start talking. But on the other hand, like I can give you a very good example. Whenever somebody asks me, invites me over for a meal or for a function or wedding, and अगर गलती से by mistake if they happen to ask me this one question, that how was the food, they will never get a one word answer. It will I will never say, it was, yeah, it was great, it was nice. I will go on to explain what I liked about the food, the texture, the tomatoes were just perfectly sauteed. It was mushy, it was not raw. Dal makhni, it was just the perfect amount of spice and creaminess. So I will go on to explain, and once I remember, there was this one friend who invited me to her engagement, and we were not like very close, and she maybe did not have too much of a liking for me, but anyway, I don't know how I got invited to her engagement. And it was a South Indian meal that we ate, and she belongs to a different community, or they give some kind of delicacies which are known only to her community, and I'm tasting that for the first time, some kind of a mixed vegetable khichdi. And so she was just going through the entire row, telling everybody that how was the food, take your own time to eat, take another serving, do you want this, do you want that. So at the end, even she came, because it was a very small function. And by the time she came to me and she asked me, I was so excited eating that dish that I started explaining to her कि इसमें जो चना दाल है, it has not, मतलब it is not completely, वो पूरी तरह से गल नहीं गया है, अभी भी है, but it's not hard also, it is cooked to perfection. And she just gave me a look as though like, who asked you? मैंने तुझसे पूछा whether the chana dal was fine or it was not fine. She just gave me that look like, who asked you, and she just walked away. And बट मेरे को वो बात बोल के इतनी खुशी हुई कि ओ माय गॉड, आई हैव टेस्टेड अ डिश लाइक दिस, कि maybe if she had not even asked me, I would have spoken this to 10 other people, and I did it. I actually came home, I told my parents, then I was thinking, I was trying to find the recipe, because I have that innate passion for cooking. I feel I have a very good understanding of how spices are blended to give a flavor, how to bring food to that texture. So I am passionate about it, so I can never stop at just complimenting somebody's culinary skills by saying, oh, it was nice, it was delicious. Those are all like adjectives. I going to explain what I really liked about the flavor or the taste, and I'm okay even if somebody does not really find it. मैं तभी भी बोलूंगी और मैं शायद अपने आप से भी बोलूंगी. So now it's not coming from a place of pressure कि मैं ऐसे कैसे कॉम्प्लीमेंट दूं कि इसको बुरा ना लगे या इसको अच्छा लगे, इसको सुन के बढ़िया लगे. It's I'm not having any of that pressure while I'm explaining all this. मेरे को तो बड़ा pleasure feel हो रहा है after expressing whatever it is that I had to express. So at the end of it, people may think, oh, why is she over explaining? Why we just asked her a simple question, how was the food, are you enjoying? So there is no helplessness in it and there's no restlessness. Okay. But then people who tend to over explain, and if it is coming from a place of wound, okay, then what they tend to experience after doing is that they feel some kind of guilt. Like, why did I do this? They feel very foolish of themselves. Ki, why do I end up giving more details? And they feel that pressure of always defending their truth. Correct. So I hope that we've got the meaning of the topic right. Now I invite any of you to share if you've noticed that you've ended up doing this in you know any interactions of yours, and if you have caught yourself doing this. Anybody would like to talk, you can raise your hand. Yes, Achilan, please go ahead.
Yeah, brother. Good evening.
Good evening.
So this over explaining or overthinking, is it good or bad? Especially when it is in a relationship, means when you are dealing in in a relationship, or so I think over explaining sometimes may be required when you are in a counseling session sometimes. Like this.
Yeah, so that's why I took some time to explain the topic, that it's all about what is the purpose, correct? So over explaining, it's neither good, it's neither bad. It's about how it's making a person feel and from which place is it coming. Is it coming from a place of genuine pleasure, or is it coming from a place of love? Like for me, cooking is love. Cooking is love. So anybody talks anything about cooking, so I will want to get into that conversation and understand how that dish is done and the history of that dish and everything. It's not at all coming from a place of me wanting to prove to them anything, correct? So now in a relationship also, somebody is over explaining. So is it coming from that place of wanting to prove one's worth? Is it coming from a place of wanting to be right all the time, or rather not wanting to be wrong at all? So we have to question that. So over explaining is fine, but what is behind it?
No, that is fine. So, are we in the context? Are we talking? See, explanation definitely okay. That is fine. But in terms of whether it is a kind of business interaction, definitely I think over explaining sometimes may lead you into problems. See, because normally in a Western American movies, possibly you might have seen. Suppose if somebody wants to ask, no, that other person will not even tell. They say that it is above your pay grade. So no explanation. They will not give any explanation at all because it's not called for. So that's the reason I just wanted to know. It's over explaining in what context. Yeah, it is correct. Whatever you are told, like on the side, like give us with a simple example you started. That is perfectly correct. But again,
See, now
whether
you're actually talking about two different, dimensions, although it will hold good in both scenarios. You started off with relationships, and then suddenly now you're talking about the corporate this thing, correct? So what exactly is you're trying to convey?
yeah, that's what I'm just wanted to know, understand indeed. Possibly this power explaining is it needs to be looked at in a different situations, correct? Whether so again it depends on the
Yeah,
context.
now, yeah, see, like for example, see, I'll just, give an example of how we might end up doing this. Okay. So supposing like I remember when in my first job, when I was still under the training period, I was still under probation. So there was immense pressure on me to look smart and to not look stupid. So my manager told me, so if you have any doubts, feel free to come and ask. Now, I had it at the back of my mind that just because he has said feel free to come and ask, I should not every now and then go ask, some doubt, so I should not look silly. So I would ask a question, and the minute I would ask a question, I would talk, like 1 or 2 paragraphs, qualifying my question, explaining and justifying that why my question is a smart question, why my question is a valid question. And तो मुझे लगा ये करके by doing this, rather I will develop a good bond with him. He will think कि, oh, she's such a smart girl. She not only asks, she's also explaining to me, taking all the time in explaining to me. And he was a very busy man. मेरे जैसे उसके पास 3-4 लोग थे ट्रेन करने के लिए. And he would get pissed off with me, like, um, she has a doubt, she can ask. वो, so he actually ended up giving after the first 6 months, he actually ended up giving a not very positive feedback about me. So what I initially thought that, I'm asking question and I'm resolving, it did not really help us to have a good bond. And later on, I understood that when I'm asking question, it should come from a place of curiosity, that I don't know how to do this, and why is it being done, and where do these entries, reflect ultimately. I'm not getting the bigger picture. Then I would end up spending so much time कि ये मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेगा, will he think I'm stupid, will he think I'm silly. And but ultimately that is what it ended up happening. Ultimately he thought I was silly, and I was being silly also. He thought I was that, oh, she's such a silly girl. He actually ended up feeling that way about me. Correct. So asking a question and then going on to explain and qualify why you're asking that question, we may do this. Another way is that, whenever a person has an occasion where that person has to say no, they may go to excessively apologize why they are saying a no, why they cannot come for that function, why they cannot make up for that meeting. So again, they're adding more and more justifications to it. Correct. So these are some of the ways in which we tend to do it, and this is coming from a place of fear. Did I answer you, Akhilan?
Uh, is it something that we can take? Like suppose two
Is it
friends.
something that
No, if we can just assume like in over explaining, or see if someone two friends meet after a very long time, so they will
hmm,
try to explain a lot to each other like what has happened. They will try to narrate whatever has happened over the years.
hmm.
So that's what it's. Does it again depend upon the context where this
It depends
over
upon it,
explaining?
it depends upon the source. It depends upon the source of it. That's what I'm telling you. What is motivating you to over explain? Is it fear? Or is it just from a place of love and giving?
But is it needs to be encouraged, correct? See, if over explaining,
Hmm.
suppose if it is coming out of fear, try to listen to that person so that at least he feels a kind of bit of kind of what I can say, that bit relaxed or something like that. Because you ask him to talk and then you listen, does it not do that kind of healing? Like he try to explain more, and then so that at least you effectively listen to him, especially when you are coaching someone. That's just my thought, right? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So when in most of our sessions which happen in Anamify, most of the Sunday sessions, if you very carefully, it's not just a poster that we put out there about any topic, whether it's me, Anamika, Tarunji. All of us have these posters, very very pretty, nice posters made. And if you look at the wording is very clear that the topic, and below that, what we write is understand the root causes of this. So we don't go from start to stop. Okay, we don't go from the point of, okay, why do I overthink, understand the why do I overthink, how to stop overthinking. So if you see any of our posters, it is never phrased this way: how to stop over explaining, how to stop overthinking, how to stop procrastination, how to stop this and that. It's never that. It's
See,
understanding the root cause. Okay.
yeah.
See, try to understand. If there is some habit that you want to start, very simple thing which most of the people might have wanted to start, either a new year resolution of waking up early. It's a very simple act, isn't it, of setting your alarm in the night and then thinking that yes, all it is that I have to wake up to the alarm. I know a friend of mine who used to keep the alarm in the next room कि मैं कैसे नहीं उठूंगी, अब मैं भी देखूंगी, आई विल हैव टू गेट अप बिकॉज इट इज गोना वेक अप द होल हाउस होल्ड, सो आई विल हैव टू गेट अप. अब तुम उठ तो जाओगी, बट हाउ मेनी डेज यू विल डू इट? Correct. So when you're not able to do something, that's the point where a person has to address the resistance. Okay, I have identified I'm not able to get up. Like for me, I was not able to get up. I just cannot get up. आप कुछ भी कर लो, I cannot get up at 6. And I was thinking, is it lack of motivation? Is it lack of purpose in life? Is it this? Is it that? And I was going crazy. And people were telling me, hey, आप में वो will नहीं है, आप में वो चीज ही नहीं है, fire नहीं है सुबह उठने का. And when I actually, had a blood test done, my vitamin D was at 6 and my vitamin B12 was also around, 20. Then the doctor said कि कैसे फिर आप, उठ पाओगे जल्दी, आपका वो mind alert रहेगा ही नहीं. You have to take, vitamins. फिर आप देखना how, you will actually, the sluggish thing in the morning or that lethargy will start reducing, correct? Because I was feeling मैं सब कुछ तो बाकी कर रही हूँ. Why am I just not able to wake up in the morning? Correct. So when you identify that you are in a pattern and then you want to change but you can't, so that there is some resistance, so now you have to address that resistance. So we don't go from, we don't jump straight into the solution. We don't jump straight into the solution. We wait at that resistance, and that is where we do the probing. We try to understand. Correct. तो आप जो बोल रहे हो कि कोई ओवर एक्सप्लेनिंग कर रहा है, तो उसको सीधा ले जाके नहीं नहीं आप बात करो, हम आपको एनकरेज करेंगे, नहीं हम बैठ के सुनेंगे. The point is not of somebody having the patience to listen to you. The point is what is triggering that fear in you. Because this is a learned behavior. Akilan?
Yeah, Prerna. See, another point, I think possibly this may not be related to over explaining or overthinking, but this is just an example in our management class where our professor shared one interesting topic. Like in NASA, they were discussing about how to design that kind of a craft, space shuttle, which normally when you land it on the moon, how it will be, how it has to navigate through. So it was a kind of a open brainstorming session. There were a lot of discussions happening. It went on for almost several hours. So at the end of the day, some possibly they were very tired and then they were about to disperse. Suddenly, one of them was just making a comment like, "Why this conference, this discussion is moving like an earthworm?" Then they suddenly got an idea of that is how earthworm moves, no, in the mud. So it moves
Hmm.
very slowly. It has got lot of the design is such that it has got lot of the fixes like between one portion of the body to another portion. It has got lot of bends. So suddenly they thought of an idea, and that's how they came with one design of similar to the earthworm. So they were very successful on that. So sometimes overthinking or over explaining also may lead to a lot of solutions. Correct. It is so it's some again, but again, I just try to say that it may be like you say it's out of fear, but you may also get some solutions out of over explaining or overthinking.
No,
Just
no,
correct
no.
me if I'm wrong. I don't
Again,
know.
yeah. So again, you are again, आप वो point को पूरी तरह से you are skipping that point. One is a conscious choice. Okay, like I remember my, like, a few days back I had this discussion with my mother, and I told her after a few days, I have to actually talk on this topic, over explaining. And she told me, uh, I was an over explainer. I did it in my office all throughout. And I asked her, like, what do you mean? And she said that I was the manager, and then these many agents, they had to report to me, and they did know English, and I had to help them set up their agency portal and everything. So I had to, over explain to them. I had to tell them everything two times. Ki first you go here and you click here and you fill up the details and you bring it to me. I will verify whether you have furnished the right details, and then I will again ask you to authenticate all these details. I told her, no, this is not over explaining. This is coming from a very conscious place, because you understand that they will not be able to. You have analyzed that they are not very tech savvy. They cannot handle the way the website is done. So you have to help them, and in order to help them, yes, you will have to repeat the same thing 5 times because they are not from that background. Correct. So this is a conscious choice wherein, yes, it may look now to the others that she is over explaining. People who don't understand her role, it may look that she's over explaining. And she also told me that all my life I thought I am an over explainer, because this is what the others in the office told me, ki ma'am, you over explain. But she told me that the people who I am dealing with, they, some of them, they did not know English. They used to come, we want to start a insurance agency business, and help us to set it up. So she said, yes, I was an over explainer, but that was her role as a mentor. Correct. It's coming from a conscious place. And I don't ever remember she coming back home and telling me, I feel very guilty that I helped this guy set up his agency business. I had to explain 5 times and I feel very guilty about it. She's very satisfied. She's very happy doing it. Correct. So it was coming from a place of satisfaction, a place of pleasure, from a place of love. It was not coming from a place of fear. It was not coming from a place of judgment. Okay. So again, when we talk about this topic, what we are talking today is the unconscious part of it that we end up doing. The unconscious part of it we end up doing when this over explaining comes from a place of a wound. Okay. So let's hear from the others as well. Okay. Anybody else who has anything to comment on whatever we've discussed so far? You can raise your hand. कभी तो किया होगा आप लोगों ने भी ओवर एक्सप्लेनिंग, कभी तो जरूरत से ज्यादा बोला होगा और सोचा होगा क्यों बोल दिया, नहीं बोलते तो चलता क्या, किसी ने तो किया होगा.
Hey Prerna,
Yes, Rupal.
Avantik. Okay, I'll mute.
uh,
Rupal can go ahead first.
no, okay, maybe I missed. Yes, Avantika, yes.
So yes, I also tend to do over explaining at many point of time. And initially, I was just over explaining. Initially means maybe some years back. And then one fine day, I realized when I was talking to someone, and during that conversation, he was also over convincing me, not over explaining, over convincing me. And that point of time, he told me, yeah, I know I am over convincing and over explaining myself. And that is the time it stuck me. Oh my God, this is what I do all the time. So that was my first realization about my own behavior. And
Hmm.
later on, like last few months, I can say that I still do over explain at many point of time, but it is like more mindful now. And every time I do it, I come back and I think about it, and I'm able to do like little better every next occasion by being mindful about it.
Okay, so
I
what
just wanted to
really.
share my experience. Yeah.
Okay, so it's very nice that you have become aware and you have caught yourself when that whole cycle starts. But have you tried to go a little behind and seen that when does this start? Like what happens in a conversation when that you end up over explaining?
I think I am somewhere consciously, or probably bigger part is subconsciously, but I am somewhere very conscious about people judging me, and that is where the over explanation comes into the picture, so that I make sure that people understand me what from where I am coming from instead of having their own interpretation.
Hmm. Okay. So there is a fear of judgment, you can
Yeah,
say.
right now I do believe so. I need to do some more of doing some more self analysis, but right now I do believe so.
Okay. Okay. It's nice. So it's important to, identify that, okay, what is really triggering off this in me, and if there is a fear, then what is it that I fear? Correct? So you are switching off you're setting the alarm, and then you're switching off the alarm also. So the act itself is complete. You wanted to get up in the morning, but you're not getting up and sitting, है ना? तो what is it? That resistance is, so now that you know this is the thing, now you know what you can, work on. Okay,
Mm.
so let's hear from Rupal also. Rupal, you have anything to share?
Yeah, hi Prerna.
Hi,
Um,
Rupal.
Actually, I have recently moved into a new process in my organization, and what I have been noticing lately that whenever I'm talking to somebody, people are asking me why I made this move of moving into a new process, because apparently everybody thinks the process in which I was before was, I mean, it was better. And now people have known me since so many years working in that particular one, and now I've moved into another one. And people are asking me why I have taken this decision to move. And lately I've noticed that I've been over explaining to them that why I made this move from starting till end, telling everything. Even yesterday it happened. And once I stopped talking, I realized that why did I share so much, or said so much, or gave so many reasons why I made this move to anybody asking me this. So, and just
Hmm.
now, while hearing to Avantika, I realized maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because of uh, fear of judgment, that
Hmm.
everybody, why that people must be thinking why Rupal has taken such decision of moving to a, uh, I mean, kind of secondary process, leaving the first one, which was like people think is more better.
Okay, so what is it you fear, that you said you fear judgment from your colleagues or people who know you from so many years? So what is it that you fear they will think about you if you don't give them so much explanation in detailing? What is it that you fear they will think about you?
I mean, they want to understand why I am making this move. I mean, why I made this move, because I've already done it. And ever since it was rolled out, people have been asking me the same question, and I don't know why I'm ending up, explaining them so much about it. Yesterday only I realized this, that I've been telling to I am an extrovert. I speak a lot, and once I thought that maybe it's because I talk a lot, and I ended up saying so much. And then I like, why even I'm telling this guy this much about the move. And then I saw the post of today's session. So to be honest, I am not pretty sure what exactly is the reason behind it.
Okay, so just now you said that you fear being, judged. So I'm
Yeah,
asking
I
you
that's
what?
that clicked to my
Yes.
mind because when Avantika shared her situation. So maybe
So what is
it's
the
the
judgment?
judgment.
What is the judgment they are likely to pass about you?
Mm, so the earlier process wherein I was, they used to, clear papers and attain a certification. I decided not to write those papers, and I have seen since so many years that people want to move in the process because everybody like it. Maybe from the perspective that it's being um, um, I mean, people crave to get into those process, and I was already there, but I decided not to write papers and moved out. And probably people will judge me that I was not able to do that work, or maybe I was not able to complete the certification, and that's why I had to move out. Maybe I'm just thinking aloud right now.
That's what. So it's very common. Like for example, they might have asked you this question out of curiosity. Okay, like for example, even Anamika is from a very good finance background, and then she completely made, she shifted her, career to a completely different this thing. So somebody could have a very genuine curiosity that, what motivated you to shift from this stream? इसमें भी ये भी बहुत ही बढ़िया, फाइनेंस का स्ट्रीम है, यहाँ से यहाँ पे कैसे आ पाए? तो इट्स अ वेरी आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी, क्योंकि वो स्ट्रीम में लोग जाना चाहते हैं, एंड शी हैज लेफ्ट इट एंड शी हैज कम ऑन दिस साइड ऑफ, सो हाउ कम? तो ये एक जेन्युइन क्यूरियोसिटी है. तो पीपल ऑल्सो माइट हैव आस्क्ड दिस जेन्युइन क्यूरियोसिटी, दैट यू हैव लेफ्ट द primary department and you've come to the secondary this thing, so it might have they might have asked you from that place of curiosity, but the way that you have perceived it is that they might think कि I was not able to get through the certificate and that's why I've taken this. तो वहां पे आपने वो एक filter डाल दिया that they will end up thinking I'm a loser, or I'm not maybe good enough. They will judge me that I'm not good enough, and that's why I have to now justify my decision of working for this department. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Hmm. Okay, so now that you have offered this explanation to them, so are you feeling good that they are now convinced?
I think so. I'm not sure.
But then there'll always be another one tomorrow who will ask you the same question.
Yeah, that has been happening. And for last 15 days, one or the other person is asking me the same question. And I've been telling them it's like repeating the same entire story. And then yesterday I realized that, I mean, why I've been repeating the same thing, telling the entire story to them. And yesterday I realized that maybe I don't need to tell them everything. It just maybe a liner or two, but I've been telling them the entire story, how I decided and when and how I got moved, everything from um, start till end.
Yeah, so the face is changing every day. Maybe the name of the person is changing every day, but actually the question remains, and this question is likely to be thrown at you maybe every single day of the rest of the year. So is this how you know is this how it's going to be, that yes, I will have to explain to them?
No, that's why I realized that I shouldn't be telling the entire story, and that doesn't make sense.
Okay, so we'll just get back to what could
No,
actually.
I just I was just listening to this one. I just wanted to interrupt and just say, then Prerna, you can take this over. That it does make sense. You, Rupal, you are saying it doesn't make sense. It does make sense because you are still doing it. So the question is not that I need to stop doing it. The question is, what is making you to do it?
Mm. I am, that's what I'm feeling, that maybe I'm trying to justify my movement when I don't have to actually.
It's yeah, justifying is what you are doing. But the answer you will get by asking the question that why are you justifying? What are you trying to get? That's where the answer lies. So justify कर दिया आपने. अभी then
Mhm.
now what are you expecting from this justification? That's where the
Maybe,
answer is.
okay. I mean, they are okay finding that the movement was fine and I'm okay with it.
There is a word for it.
Mm. A word for?
There is a word for this situation. What you are trying to what you are trying to get can be summarized in one word.
I don't know.
It's called validation.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Seeking validation.
Yeah. Right. You're right. I'm seeking validation from everybody that my decision is right.
Oh. So now you see when you say that it doesn't make sense. Now does it make sense that why you do it?
Yes, it's making sense. I was saying that it doesn't make sense that I'm explaining too much or telling too much story to everybody. But yes,
That is what you, that's an outer conclusion that it doesn't make sense that I'm explaining. But if you have to seek validation, you have to explain. If you understand that you are doing it for validation, then obviously you have to explain. You have to explain a lot because the person has to fully feel convinced so they can give you validation.
correct. Yeah.
Samjhe?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prerna, over to you. Sorry for interrupting.
No, thank you so much. Yes, Anu, you have your hand up.
Yes, Prerna.
Yes, you want to
Yeah,
say something on the topic?
yes, yes. Uh, Actually, I was also doing lot of oversharing and over explaining. But earlier it was I didn't know why I was doing that. But now I'm lot of I know that awareness. Some of the things because of the trigger and wounds, I was like over explaining or sometimes oversharing, and sometimes I think okay, opposite person need more information. When I was educating, at the time I was oversharing. Sorry, not over explaining, but but in the any official PPTs and official meeting, most of the times I spoke really well. And even in my during childhood and everything in the education, when it comes to professional and education, I spoke really well and I got lot of appreciation. And with my friends also over talkative. There also everybody likes and everybody says so pretty. But in my last in previous 3 4 years, I started realizing I'm over explaining with for the so many things and also repeated talking. um, I don't know why. And my one of the doctor also scolded many times. Once you start, you never stop. Like you continuously talking. Um, Sometimes with the excitement, sometimes with a somebody to listen. I wanted somebody to listen my story, but I wanted to stop all these things, and I wanted to be very quiet. I'm trying. I don't know how to do it, but very consciously and with the awareness, I'm practicing.
Hmm. Yes, in some of our sessions also, I noticed that um, you were actually defending whatever actions you took, whether it was your personal life or whether it was in office. You would not only actually state your actions, but you would go to a point of defending it. You would go to a point of defending it so much, and then it would go back to, that I'm from this village and this is, my character and everything. So generally, we tend to do this when we want to clarify and we want to make sure that the other person does not misunderstand us, because we are not okay being misunderstood. We want to be. It's not just that. Like in your case, you told me that you wanted somebody to listen to you and you wanted to be heard, but that was not just that. It was also that you not only wanted to be heard, but you also did not want to be misunderstood. You wanted the other person to know that this action I took because my intentions were this
Yeah,
and I'm coming from this space. So there is a fear of disappointing the other person. There is ultimately that fear of judgment only, that other person
Yes,
should
yes.
not think that I'm wrong and I'm a bad person, correct?
Yeah.
So again
Yeah.
this, yeah, so again this, as we discussed in our sessions also, this is coming from a place of wound. It is coming from, um, for example, in our early childhood, if our early caregivers, like in one of the sessions, I remember this client who came to me, and she said that in her childhood, so whenever there is some kind of chaos in the household, so her father would just pick up both the children and just slap both of them. He wouldn't ask who made the noise, or who dropped this, or who broke this. The minute he is in the middle of some work, and the minute the children they do something, he'll just come and he'll slap both of them. He'll slap both the son and daughter. So she would sometimes, she would not know, like why she's getting slapped for. Sometimes maybe the brother would have done some kind of a mischief, and then she's just getting slapped for it. So she had this thing of always defending that, because I know I'm going to be slapped for something I didn't do, so I better tell that I didn't do, papa, it was him and he did this, I saw it. Now this happened when she was a child, but certain experiences, they become defining moment in our life, and then later on in her life, now she's old enough, and then when she started seeing proposals for marriage, she had this utmost pressure when she had to actually reject a man, that she would go on over explaining why she's rejecting a person, because she doesn't want to be the bad person. She doesn't want to be the wrong person. Otherwise, her parents will again ask her, ki, but why are you rejecting him? But why are you doing this? So this thing always started as a defensive strategy, correct? So in my interaction with her, what I found out was that she always said that I was made to feel that I was always at fault, and it's always easier for me to say, over explain and justify that I'm not at fault. So that is how this tendency started in her of uh, over qualifying and providing more than necessary details. Even with a man that she barely knows, she just didn't vibe with the man, she just didn't feel that they were the right fit for to go ahead for a marriage. But she took so much pressure to just say that I don't want this marriage. But she took so much pressure to say कि अब मैं क्या बोलूंगी, मैं कैसे इस चीज को मना करूंगी, how do I put it in words, and will it sound like this, and the right set of words. It was a very very simple thing actually. So in our early childhood, if our caregivers have made us feel that you know we are at fault, or they were very harsh with their criticism, then the child develops that tendency that I need to defend that I'm good, I need to prove that I'm good, and I'm not okay if somebody misunderstands me, because if this person misunderstands me, then I'll not be loved, I'll not be provided for, I'll not be cared for. And that is how this pattern of over explaining, or rather even people pleasing, actually starts. And somewhere I believe that they go hand in hand, whether it is over explaining, over sharing, people pleasing. I do feel that all of these patterns, they go hand in hand, and it comes from ultimately from the root cause is that it comes from some kind of fear of being. It can have many. Now this fear itself is like, you can say it's like the common word. This fear can be different for different people. Like I know so many of them who were over explainers, and I know I was myself having this tendency for a very very long time. But if I sit and actually chalk down, my fear was very different. Why I was over explaining, my fear was very different, because my wounds were very different, and the way that I had perceived the love of my caregivers, it was very different. So each of us, maybe fear can be like the common this thing, but then each of us, uh, like in case of Rupal, she said fear of being judged, that they may think that my decision is not good enough, they may think that this is not a very smart decision, this is not the right thing to do, correct? So uh, fear of being judged that way. For some, it may show up as the fear of losing the other person. If I don't explain myself, and actually I may eventually lose the other person. So they have that fear of abandonment. For some of us, it may be the fear of disappointing the other person, that somebody always has expectations from you. They look up to you and they feel that you will do this and that for them, and then when you can't do it for them, when um, you cannot fulfill what they expect out of you, then you want to over explain about why you couldn't fulfill it and why those set of circumstances were not correct for, and you feel like apologizing for not being able to fulfill. So you fear disappointing people. And for some people, it may also look like the fear of just being misunderstood. All their life they have been showered with compliments that, oh, you're a very nice person, you're a very sweet looking person, a very kind person. Now they've gotten so used to it that they're not okay listening to that. Sometimes you are rude, or sometimes you can also be harsh. They want that in every situation, and with every interaction, and with every person that I meet, I should be the good person. Nobody should actually leave thinking that she's a wrong person or she's a bad person. Nobody should have any kind of a negative feedback about me. People should only say sweet words about me. So then they fear being wrong in any interaction. They feel I should always be right. I should always be the ram in everybody's story. So this fear itself can look very different for different people. Rupal, your hand is still up. You want to say anything? Okay, so Anu, you want to add anything?
No, the question is, okay, is it under lack of emotional maturity because we are over explaining? It is coming from the lack of because I have seen some people are very, very quiet and clear and crispy, very crisp way they are talking, and a very soft way they made it very clear, and everybody will listen. But the question is
In
it
your case, yeah, in your case specifically, there is this story that actually Anamika told all of us when I went through this laser coaching certification. So I remember one day Akarma was in Goa with his friends, and Anamika actually took the session. Um, so I don't know, Anamika, if you can share the story, because she actually shared the story in a very nice way. So I don't think I'll be able to share the story the way she shared it. Anamika, this I don't want to kill the suspense. I'll just give you the hint. Just tell me if you remember the story. So you shared about this lady who was in the medical field, but people misunderstood her. Uh, you understood the character that I'm talking about, Anamika?
No, not yet.
Okay, the class was on the topic negative bias. Now you remember?
No, still, I don't remember. You tell the story if, whenever
नहीं,
I get
स्टोरी
a
तो
catch,
मुझे,
I'll.
क्योंकि आपने अलग ही एक तरीके से वो सेशन स्टार्ट किया था, वो कितना सस्पेंस बिल्ड करके एंड में हमको बताया था कि यू सेड समथिंग अबाउट हर एंड यू सेड व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट हर. you know People blamed her for
Ah,
abortions and
हाँ.
substandard
Right,
medical care.
right, right.
याद आया,
Right,
याद आया.
right, right. हाँ, आ गया.
हाँ, हाँ,
हाँ. So there are
हाँ.
two people. So there was this, classroom full of students who were sitting and everything. And two people, जिनका example लेके हम comparison कर रहे थे. There was one male guy, who had, distributed a certain amount of money, like billions of dollars, right? So he had donated and done charity. He was very nice to, his family, very caring husband, very caring father, also very, um, you know, um, dedicated worker. So he was very true to his work, doing all of these things very sincerely and nicely, and always on time, always doing, whatever is needed to be done. and a long list of qualities that he held. He was very disciplined, right? And the second person that we are talking about, so she was doing, this hospital service, this all of these things. But in her hospital, there were more people who were getting, um, uh, more diseases and getting infected. There was no proper service, no proper, so everything was messed up. She was, going to villages and trying to convert people and trying to, change their religions, influence them, and manipulate them that, they need to change something about themselves, right? And the long list again. Now, at the end, in the classroom full of students, the teacher asks, which one of this person do you feel is a good person and a bad person? So, anybody here? Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, Anand. Avni?
I'm not sure. I think I read it. It was Hitler and Mother.
You were not supposed to break the suspense, Avni.
Oh, I thought you asked that. I'm so sorry.
Hmm. Okay. So, as Avni has already answered,
I thought you asked.
the good guy, that the one who apparently appears as the good guy, is Hitler, right? And the one who appears as a bad person in the story is Mother Teresa. And both of these facts, all of the facts that were given about both of them are correct, right? So
Okay.
there's no misinformation uh, given in the story. It's all facts, but they are
Okay.
Hitler and Mother Teresa. Yeah, go ahead, Prerna.
So this actually, so one of our, sessions in our laser coaching was on negative bias, and then so Anamika actually facilitated this session for us, and so right in the beginning she told us this very nice story, and actually इसके ऊपर हम लोगों ने 45 minutes निकाला because she asked each one of us to tell कि आपको क्या लगता है, तो we were around 6-7 of us and we all took turns, and like this guy looks like a good guy because he has done this and this, and I remember telling that the woman, she looks like, she has after all offered, a very substandard medical care to patients. तो ये फिर कहाँ का humanity हो गया? This is not done. तो ऐसे हाफ 45 मिनट्स तो हम लोगों का इसी में निकल गया था. इट वाज अ वेरी एंगेजिंग कॉन्वर्जेशन, आई रिमेम्बर. सो अनु, दिस स्टोरी you know um, is for you because um, you have this intense fear of when we say judgment, you have this intense fear of being misunderstood. You rather, you want to be right in every situation, and you want to be right in everybody's version of their story. You want to be right in even in their version of the story.
Okay.
You're not
And
okay
also
being
good.
eh, so you want that if tomorrow my mother goes somewhere to a function and she has to talk about the two daughters, I don't know what she may talk about my sister, but then she has to say, Anu, my daughter, my child, she is like a gift of God. She is very good. So she's very good. And then your sister, when she goes somewhere, you want your sister to say, I don't know whether my husband is doing enough for me or not, but my sister is like a Masiha. She does so much for me. Even though I did not talk to her, she helped me financially. My sister does so much for me. And then in your office, your manager should say, I played so much politics with Anu, but Anu, she's like an angel. She's an angel sent from heaven. So in everybody's version, so if all these people were to write books, they have to only glorify you as a good character.
So is it coming from the because of the lack of identity? I wanted to, create my own identity like this.
You're not comfortable being misunderstood. Like Like for example,
Oh,
here the the place that I live in, the apartment. So initially the apartment association was not formed, because it's a new apartment, and around lockdown only then people started coming in and living in. So somebody, people were only pouring suggestions and complaints and all of these things, but koi samne nahi aa raha tha to take the lead. Finally, one person came and said, okay, so I'll take the lead and I'll act as the president. And now everybody, all the 40 flats had one person to go to, one person to blame, one person to criticize. A few months later, we had acute water shortage problems. अब उसमें क्या हो रहा था कि water shortage problems were there, but people were still inviting guests. People were still, um, doing all the things the way they do it. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, there's no water. 6 o'clock they leave water. By 8 o'clock, there's no water. And then every day he's receiving calls, people shouting at him, people abusing him that there's no water in the house. How will I go to office? How will I get my kids ready? Every day, and this went on for a month. I was, asking him, how do you manage 40 flats and every person calling you and doing removing their frustration? And he told me that I'm okay being misunderstood, because he knows he has come forward to lead. He knows he has come forward to take care of the residents association. Usme it's not something which is in his control. So how people reacted to his efforts, how people reacted to his character, he knows it is not in his control. वो कितना भी करेगा लोग तो गाली देंगे ही. And he said no, he picked up the call. He listens to everybody. सब उसको फोन कर करके हमारे घर में पानी नहीं आ रहा है, हमारे घर में पानी नहीं आ रहा है. Everybody are uh, somebody is calling him and telling him water is not coming in the kitchen, it's only coming in the bathroom. So everybody had their own thing, and he is talking to everybody. Okay, okay, I'll just see why it is not coming. So everybody was, kind of removing the frustration, and people were calling him incapable, and he's not fit to be a president. He can't lead, and all of this. But then nobody is coming forward also to lead. Correct? It was very easy. People found it convenient, and he said in all of these things, I think what I learned from him is he said, I'm okay being misunderstood. मतलब ये तो होगा ही. ये this is the process of life. ये तो होगा ही that you cannot go on in life without anybody misunderstanding you. It's just not possible. Even Lord Ram was being misunderstood by so many of them. And when Ram went to the forest, Bharat was being misunderstood. It is said that Bharat used to go early in the morning and take bath in the river and come back. Because if he would go a little later, people would actually throw stones and chappals at him. कि कितना बेशरम है, this brother, elder brother is in the forest with his wife, and this man is, wanting to be the king and sit on the throne of Lord Ram. How dare he? So he would go early in the morning and he would take bath and come, and he would be okay with it, because he said okay, he said he made a promise that by the time Lord Ram comes back, I will actually multiply the treasury. I will not use a single money for me. But the citizens in Ramarajya, they were thinking that Bharat has plundered all the money and he is actually misusing it. And Bharat was okay being misunderstood. He said, I'm doing it for Lord Ram, and in the process, if I'm being misunderstood, I'm okay with that. क्योंकि ये तो होगा ही, but I'm doing my duty. Correct? So he did not go around the entire village, go around and clarify कि actually ऐसा है, भैया अभी जंगल में है, my brother is in the forest, so that is why I'm doing this. So can I have your signature? So today I have decided to do this and this and this. तो आज ये मंत्री के साथ मेरा meeting है. Today I have to do this and this and this. So is this okay? Is this not okay? So he did not go seeking a clarification. He did what he had to do, and in the process, he got criticized a lot. Correct? So for that entire Vanvas, I think we can empathize with Ram, that Ram was living in the forest, but Bharat, although he was living in the kingdom, he actually lived a more miserable life from that point of view, if you see. But he was being misunderstood by everybody. But he said, yes, I'm okay with being misunderstood. Correct? So we don't go and audition for a role of a villain in somebody's life. It just happens. That is the process of life. हम जाके audition नहीं देते कि देखो I will, taunt on your life like this, or I will behave like this with you, or I will hurt you in this way. आप एक बार बताओ ना कि आप hurt हो रहे हो या नहीं हो रहे, या मैं दोबारा करके दिखाऊं. We don't go like this and, audition in anybody's life to become a villain. It is, it just happens organically. Just like we are capable of being hurt by something that somebody said or something that somebody did, they might have said it or done it unintentionally. And just like as human beings, we are capable of being hurt, we also hold the power to hurt. And that's all right. It may be intentional sometimes, which may be necessary, especially if somebody is, infringing your boundaries. They are crossing the boundaries that you have set. You may have to remind them politely. You may have to take measures. And in the process, they will end up being hurt. They will end up misunderstanding you to be selfish or greedy or whatever it is that they call you. And you have to be okay with that, misunderstanding. Correct. So in your case, you have this, even in our coaching calls, you were excessively, defending at the almost at the end of every issue that you explain. There is one standard dialogue that you would add, that it's not in my character, but my character is not like this. So I don't know, like if I make a statistics in our entire, calls, I don't know how many times you have ended up using the word character.
No. And why about that oversharing? That is also rarest personal things. And suddenly, okay, might be that last 2 3 years, so many issues I was facing. That oversharing mm, might be trigger her wound. But one thing I wanted to tell, in 2015 April, I have attended some training program. After that only I started sharing. Before that, even including my childhood, till 2015, I was the person like never shared anything. Never. I was going through a lot, not even a single smallest thing. Not my closest friends also not knowing anything about. Mm, and after 2015, actually, that program is all about sharing and opening up. That program, even in the nearly closing time, also I was not ready to share, but forcefully they made me to share few things, and later it started. Very slowly I developed a you know behavior of oversharing. That.
What you call oversharing, I would like to call it the process of grieving. Okay. You you became aware that, you have lost certain people whom you considered close, either they departed, like in your case, you shared that bond with your father, and the father, departed. Father is not in the, family dynamics now. And then with the other people for whom you did a lot, they, in some way, they turned hostile. Okay, they turned their back against you. So that loss of friendship, or that loss of love that you experienced, even, with the prospective partner, that loss of love that you experienced. So I would like to call it the process of grieving. Okay, so when you went to that program in 2015, you said you started opening up. In other words, you actually started grieving. Correct. And grief has this stage where we want to talk it out, we want to bring it out of our system. Correct.
Okay.
So but in your case, something tells me that you're still not out of that cycle.
Yes, I'm
Yes. So
consciously
and
working on it. Yes, I am not at all out of that cycle.
yes, so this is a good, opportunity for you to address this. There is a 21-day, e-learning journey on grief. Okay, on navigating through grief, because grief has many stages. Grief has many stages because there is this tendency in you to go back and question all the events in your life, and to question your response to it and everything. Correct. So if you want to really, get into introspecting all of this, you can actually, you know take up this course and sincerely do it, because it's a DIY course. You can sincerely do it. Okay. And while doing it, if you need any assistance, you can actually all the coaches are available. You can actually take up a clarity call with any of the coach, and you can, take the journey forward.
Okay, got it.
Because you're swinging back and forth, you again and again, you come back to the point of, the events that, happened in your life, and you're again not okay with the way that you have responded, or the sequence in which it happened, or the way it happened. Correct? So there is still some work that needs to be done.
Hmm. So imagining or assuming I would have done it, better in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you have actually built a lot of awareness around it, so you will be able to, you know, navigate easily to whatever, questions are given, whatever pointers are given. Because I remember I myself have gone through this journey, the e-learning journey, and I would recommend it to anybody who has, at some point in your life, you have, you know, had a loss of friendship, loss of love, or it could be you left one company wherein you had very good friends, and now you're in another place where you just can't figure out anything. You changed the city, and there is that loss, there is that void, and things are not the same anymore, and you want to address it. Correct? So it can be bittersweet, where you want it back and you're constantly, complaining to God. Correct? So I've heard you also make many such, statements that I prayed so much, and why God is not, giving me this and giving me that. So there's a
Yeah.
good chance that you
Earlier
have not fully, yeah, that you have not
old
fully gone through the
statement.
process of grieving whatever happened.
Yeah. So I can't say it in a percentage way, like half of the way I came out or something like that. But yeah, after all these things, I'm feeling much better, and so many things have turned in a very positive way. As you suggested. Okay, I will work on it. It will take some time. I will work on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prerna.
Thank you, Anu. Okay. Anybody else who wants to say anything? Akarma, any comments from you?
No, nothing comes to my mind. I think the stories you have been sharing are quite good already. Explains it well enough. कुछ अभी तो दिमाग में नहीं आ रहा.
Okay. अनामिका, आपको कुछ comments बोलना है?
No, nothing to share as such, Prerna.
Okay. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. We had a great time discussing and getting deeper into this topic. So see you again next week. So on the 25th, which is Saturday, so we have Tarunji, who will be talking about a session on parenting. So we invite all of you. Please join in, and please take benefit of all the sessions that happen at Anamify. Thank you everybody. Bye. Good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
thanks,
everyone.
Prerna.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank
night.
Bye
you all.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
Prerna. Thank you so
Bye.
much.